Welcome everyone, I am Becca. Thank you so much for joining me again here at this magic house, and we have another tarot deck to look at today. Now this is the Luminous Void Tarot by Laura Zuspan, or possibly Zuspan. I'm apologizing if I'm getting your name wrong. And this has been out for about 2 years. I just got my hands on this copy though. And it was kickstarted in 2018. The deck is a little bit larger than a regular deck of cards, but not significantly more so. We'll see that the card shape is different when we open it up. But I just want to say briefly about the deck itself, or the box itself. It's a two-part box. The top cover covers the bottom all the way, and you can see that there are these half moon shapes here to open them. I have looked through these cards a bit before I started this recording, and Laura is a tarot card reader as well as an artist, and you can really tell with the cards. We'll look at them obviously in a moment, but you can really tell that that the creator was a reader and not just an artist who wanted to create a deck. There's a depth of meaning to them that that you don't see in sometimes in decks that are just made for the art rather than made to be read. So let's open it up and see what we have. So there's a little bit of give to take the lid off, which means that, the box could travel better than some others. The book inside, it's a small book. There are, pages aren't numbered, but there's not that many pages to it. It's nicely made. It is in color. Every page has, the headers are in red, the text is in black, so every page is actually in full color. And there are some small illustrations, so you can see here wands and cups. So there's some small illustrations in it. The information is minimal, but there is, again, you can tell that she's a reader, and you can tell that these are her interpretations of some of the cards. It's basically a Rider-Waite-Smith system, but her interpretations they seem to be based on her experience reading rather than just kind of regurgitating the same descriptions as everyone else. There's she goes in to say what the suits mean individually. There's what the court cards mean individually, like, what does a king mean, what does a queen mean, to kind of help you in your readings to fit these things together rather than just memorizing what the cards mean. The major arcana here, very brief descriptions of what each card means. It says the Fool opening the unknown with radiance, like just very, very minimalist. And the minors are the same. It's very minimalist text. So the Ace of Cups says emotional fertility, new love. So, very, very to the point. If you're just learning tarot, this might be interesting to learn something so minimal. On the other hand, you might want a book that gives you a little bit more information, but you can get that in an external book. There are some interesting information on how to kind of meditate with tarot and get into the mindset of reading tarot, and there is one spread suggestion in the back of the book. So there's also how to take care of your deck, and she recommends wrapping them in silk and things like that. So I don't wrap all of my decks in silk, but I do, over here you can see that I do have some decks that I keep wrapped in silk, but I don't keep all of my decks wrapped in silk. So the cards, that's what you're all here for, right? So they are kind of oblong shaped. They are not squares. They're not rectangles. The box is a very interesting feel to it. It's almost rubbery texture. So the cards, I don't know if you can see the edges here, but they are edged in gold, which it's not a bright gold. It is just sort of a pearlescent gleam to the cards. The red from the backs comes through a little bit, and it's just a little bit of a shimmer rather than a bright gold. and it doesn't seem to, the gold is part of the cards. It doesn't seem like it's going to wear off. The backs of the cards you can see are in red with this watercolor circle here and the gold imprint. And this gold imprint, you can feel it. It's embossed. You probably can't see it on the video, but it is shiny gold and it is embossed. Obviously, looking at this, you will be able to tell if the cards are reversed. They're very much, there's an up and there's a down on the backs of these cards. So if that's important to you, this deck is going to be very obvious when you shuffle them and have them upset and have them, looking at the backs. You'll be able to tell what's reversed and what's not. The cards themselves are all in these kind of sort of surreal watercolors, and I'll show you, so here's the Fool and here's the Ace of Cups, and they're all of them look the same. The minors and the majors all look like they belong together in the same deck, but they're all quite different cards. I do have a flip through at the end. I'm going to show you some of the cards up here, but the ones I don't show you, I've recorded a flip through at the end of this, so you'll be able to see all the cards individually if there's one particular card that you're interested in. I know people have a favorite card in a deck, and whether they buy the deck or not really depends on what that one favorite card looks like. So I do have a flip through at the end. So yeah, they're minimalist. There's a lot of information there, but there's also not a lot of information, and I think my feeling about this deck is it is a very intuitive deck, but it's not the way that people usually say things that are intuitive decks. So usually when we say decks are intuitive, they have a lot of visual information, and you can kind of pick out details from that visual information, and it sparks things in your brain, and you can make connections there. These cards have some of that. But really, the intuition here is it's not a front of your brain making visual connections. It's kind of a back of your brain remembering, ancestral knowledge almost. That it's just it triggers something in the back of your brain that puts pieces together, rather than something you can say, okay, well, the sun in this card makes me think this. This is just I don't know why I'm thinking this, but it's bringing up this memory. So it really, and if you read her website and the notes that come with the book, that come with the deck in the book, this is really her way of reading, and her way of teaching how to read is this kind of intuitive psychic connection. So I think it's a really good deck for bringing out those sorts of connections. It does remind me a little bit of the Handle in that way that I sometimes read with, in that it has this it has that surreal quality of you're not quite sure what you're looking at sometimes. It's okay, well, the Fool, it's someone walking with it's a pretty standard Fool imagery. The Magician here, there's the Pentacle and the Sword and the Cup and the Wand, and he's inside this rainbow circle. So it's sort of, you can tell the system there, but the High Priestess, I'm looking at, I don't know, this image seems very profound to me. On the other hand, I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking at. This sort of looks like a cat face here. This sort of looks very phallic, but it could also be a person sitting, and that's a crossed leg and water. I'm not sure what I'm looking at. But it definitely, it brings something in your brain. And so I think that is, I think that is what this deck brings, is this just sort of intuitive, psychic impulse, rather than a traditional literal type of read. So I think, for that, I think it's a really interesting deck. So I've shown you a few of the major arcana. Like I said, there's a flip through at the end. Actually, I really like the star here. It reminds me very much of the Egyptian deities of the land and the night sky. So let's see. The wands, we have the Ace of Wands here. And Ace of Cups. And again here we have, like, is this a crystal? Is this some sort of other phallic imagery? Does that, like, the phallus in the cups, is this like a sexual thing? Those are just, that's what comes to mind when I see it. Let's see, the swords. The swords are often, she's done a lot of the swords in these kind of rainbow colors. And then the discs, she calls the pentacles discs. It's also rainbow colors. There's a lot of rainbow colors in this deck. So I think the artwork is really beautiful. I think that this shape is interesting. I have not tried to shuffle this deck yet. I am a little concerned at how thick these cards are. It's a very high quality paper, and I am a little concerned if they're going to be able to shuffle properly. Also, I can barely fit this in my, I can barely hold these, so we'll see how the shuffle goes. And I'll also say that the cards seem to stick together a little bit. You'll see, I've already recorded the flip through, and when I was doing the flip through, often the cards was kind of stick together, and I would take two at a time instead of one. So that was definitely an issue. Again, these cards have never also been used, so they're, they are brand new. I can't hold them the long way, so I'm gonna have to try to shuffle these side by on their sides. Yeah, they are not made for riffle shuffling. They are just, nope, it's not gonna work at all. So I'm not gonna try that again, because that was, well, I'm gonna try it one more time. I'm gonna try maybe at the corner. Oof, a little bit. They're difficult. They are difficult to shuffle. Oh man. So, yeah, I mean, I guess overhand shuffle, I never shuffle like this. I don't, I know people, I see people do it and it seems easy, but, I don't shuffle that way myself, and, I've been riffle shuffling cards since I was a toddler, so, it's very awkward for me to do it overhand style. So yeah, I think that's this very high quality, luxurious cardstock makes them very difficult to use. That's my main concern here, is that the cards are beautiful, the artwork is beautiful. I love the intuitive hits that, the Four of Wands is lovely little house. I love the intuitive hits that the artwork brings. I think that this would be a very easy deck to read, although I haven't done any readings with it yet. Obviously, I haven't even shuffled it yet. But, yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how to shuffle these cards, because I can't. They're too big to hold in my hands. The cards are too thick to riffle shuffle. And, I worry about doing, like, a wash shuffle. Just like that. First of all, yeah, I worry about doing it because of the gilded edges, and that, wash shuffles are very, destructive on cards. They will chip the edges, and they also, the scraping of the cards against each other and against the table surface, especially with this embossing and this gold in the back, I wouldn't really want to do a lot of that, because I'm afraid that the wash shuffle would really damage these cards. So, yeah, that is my thoughts on them. Beautiful cards. I really love the spirit of how they're made. I love the artwork that they have. And I know that a lot of people really like the thick cards because of how high quality the paper is. That, the thicker the card, the more expensive, the more luxurious, and they feel nice. Although, like I said, they do stick together, so maybe some fanning powder would be useful. And for people who don't know, fanning powder is, it's powder, but it is developed for casino and stage magician use, basically, to make cards fan out better. So when people, yeah, see, these fan terribly. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but they all kind of stick and clump together. So fanning powder just makes the cards fan better. And, it can be purchased in, a gaming store, or you can find it easily online. So that might help a little bit, but it won't help with how thick these cards are. So that is my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts. I know the deck has been out for a couple of years now, so give me a comment. Let me know how you figured out how to shuffle these. Because I really love the artwork, and I would really love to read with them more often, but I'm going to have to figure out how I can randomize them without hurting the cards themselves. So I hope this was useful for you. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel. We do reviews of decks every week, and we do readings, and we do astrology, and I would love to see you back for more. Thank you!